Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Today we're going to have a quick distro first impression pros and cons of MX-16, a distro that I have been seeing a lot more about recently. I think it might have been they may have released something, and so then what ended up happening is a whole lot of us guys that like doing Linux distros reviewed it a little bit, and it's been on my radar for a couple of weeks now. I'm just kind of getting to it now. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to have a quick look. Let me fix my camera there a little bit. There we go. All right, so we're going to have a quick look at the platform. So what I've done here is I've already installed this on a virtual box. And I've played around with it for probably only a good 20-30 minutes or so. So I'm by no means an expert. Of course, these distro reviews that I do are kind of like first impressions, pros and cons, things that I've observed. Because one of the purposes of my channel is to help people who are switching over to the Linux platform to have an understanding of the types of distros, what types of things work, what types of things don't work. And so I'm gonna, always do these various distros so that you can get a chance of seeing that yourself. Of course, these are on virtual boxes. So one of the things that I liked initially when I did my setup is that this is one of those few installers that allows you to do a separate root password and user password. And that's actually pretty significant because most distros will actually, as you are installing it, it will only give you the ability to set up one password. And that one password adds your main account also as the root password. So if somebody could happen to compromise your main password, then they could actually also compromise the root as well. Of course, your basic user account on any Linux desktop system is generally added to the sudo group, so usually it's a moot point anyway. But it is a nice little feature to have separate passwords for your main group and for your root, even if you are added to the sudo group. So I did like that. So the desktop itself, or I should say the distro itself, it is a distro utilizing the xfce desktop for a very lightweight application, and it is based on the Debian stable, which is current Debian Jessie. And the platform itself is a very nice system. We have a lot of functions built in. So I'm going to walk through probably, there's a lot of pros in here, and I did not see a whole lot of cons. I'm not a huge fan of the xfce desktop. I just think it looks a little dated, but it is actually a fabulous desktop for slower computers or for computers where you need to be conscious of the system resources. Let's see. Well, there's HTOPs installed. Trying to see what all's installed over here. I was looking to see if there was more like just like a system manager here. I don't use HTOP as much, but we can see here that it is using only 600 megabytes. You can see right here that I've given this VirtualBox, 4 or 5 gigabytes of data. And it is using only 600 megabytes, which makes it about half the size of Windows 10 or Windows 7. So it is going to run pretty nice. Even on a VirtualBox, this guy is really snappy. So if you are looking for an operating system that is a very lightweight platform, this is probably one of your top choices. Other top choices, you might have Peppermint, which I think it's based on Ubuntu, but I think it has a lot of input from Linux Mint. So I'm not sure if it's derived from Linux Mint directly or Ubuntu directly. But Peppermint's another one of these really lightweight, snappy desktops I like. There's also the Ubuntu. Which, let's see, and there's Xubuntu, which runs this desktop. Ubuntu runs it runs one of the other lightweight systems, but they're all very, very nice. systems here. This did not give me the option to decline proprietary codecs when we installed it. So if you are a Pure Freedom Foundation type guy and you do not want any proprietary items, you want to be aware of that. Out of the box, this does work very well. The main default audio player is Clementine, which is a very nice platform. You can see here that I'm playing the 1812 Overture, and you probably can't hear it because of how I have my mic set up versus the computer. But it does play out of the box very nicely. And if you're not familiar with the Clementine system, it is actually a very nice system. I actually like this one a little bit better than Rhythmbox. I think it has the same functions. I'm not sure. Yeah, I can do some podcasts over here. I haven't used it as much, but I do use this as the default player on my OpenSUSE on Enlightenment. I like the feel of Clementine quite a bit better than I like the feel of Rhythmbox, and I believe they can do most of the same things. Of course, if you just close this out, it continues to play, and you have the ability in the system tray over here to turn. You can play, pause, forward, backwards. You can mute. I'm not sure what love does. You can quit, and you'll see that I get a notification up here in the corner that Clementine stopped, and the music will stop. That was, of course, 1812 Overture. I use that as my sample sound one because I don't want to, risk utilizing some copyrighted thing right off the, on the YouTube channel. I also did test a video. I'm not going to load this up, but the default video editor or the default video player is VLC, which is already configured and ready to go. So I just went literally right into here, went over to my networks, and I don't think it found my network right away, but the Thumar is the file manager, and it is, I'm not sure the exact distances between this and Nemo, but you have the ability here to enter things in. In fact, you could do an FTP. I didn't completely test it, but you could do an FTP. You can do a Samba Media Share as well. And this is what I have, a Samba Media Share network, and I just kind of added these guys over here so I could move some files over. So it worked very, very nice. In fact, the only thing that I really noticed differently between this and Nemo, which is probably my absolute favorite file manager, is that on Nemo there's quite a bit more options on the panels themselves, although those might be around here somewhere. But there were more options to show, for example, the size of the icons and things like that. So the only place that I saw where I could change icons, in fact, I don't even see it in here. I'm sure it's here somewhere. I just don't know exactly where. Let me see if I add tree, if that does something. I said on Nemo, you have the ability to. Okay, it looks like I can zoom in and zoom out the icons here. So that's, I think, what I can do. Let me see. Oh, I do. Yeah, so you can zoom in and zoom out with the Control Plus and Control Minus. On Nemo, you have a little bit more tool options there. But everything else I saw, I really do like this, including the ability to open folders as root, which is one of my favorite things about Linux Mint that makes it such a good distro, is that you can do a lot more inside of a platform from the user interface if you can open it as root. And so here, of course, I've left these on here. We're granting permissions because the first time you open anything that requires a root permission, you have the ability to opt out of always running the password. So I just wanted you to see this pop-up box. I'm going to close that out. So now you can see I get my warning message that I am in here as root. So this is a very useful feature in the event that you need to edit something that is on like in a system folder. For example, on Linux Mint 18, there is an error with the input Python file. And if on Linux Mint, you can go in and you can drill down to where it is, but it is a system file, so it is owned by root. So your main desktop user is not able to access that file from the GUI, except you can right-click and open as root. So the other items here, you can see that you do have a very comprehensive right-click menu. Let me right-click it in a place where the image is not in the way. So we have opening a new window. We can create a launcher, create a URL link. We can create a folder. We can create a document. You'll see it says no templates installed. We're going to test that here in a little bit. We have the ability to paste if I had something. So there is a boatload of stuff in this menu. This menu here is a very nice platform. Under desktop settings here, you have the quick ability to adjust your images. And so you can see here that you can go with various images. They are very light on the wallpapers installed, which is probably okay because you can, grab wallpapers anywhere online. Although there's none of these wallpapers that really just grab me. And that's, I don't know if that's a negative or not a negative, but it is one that that you need to be aware of if you like to come in here and look at a whole lot of different backgrounds. Then you're not going to find them. Right? You can change the background every few minutes, so I can set that up. Under your menus here, you can adjust some of what is on your list menus, and here for your icons, I thought that the icons were very small, so I'm going to want to change that to 64. So that's a little bit bigger icons for me, so I like that. We can show thumbnails, we can show hidden files on the desktop, and then we can also show or hide various other file system icons. And I like doing that, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here's even our, we're going to take those off. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move these guys around. As you probably would have guessed, as far as the theming of the system is concerned, I'm not a huge fan of the theming. They did, however, make it very easy to make edits in here. If I can remember exactly where all of them were. Was it appearance? Okay, so under appearance here, you can change the basic appearance of everything. And then these will actually change the panel as well. I was not actually able to add any nice gradient effects or any transparency to the panel. There is a spot on the panel where you have the ability to adjust an alpha, but it seems to be blocked. Over here, of course, as you know, I do not like these style of icons, just a personal preference, but they give you, one of the great things about this platform is they really give you a ton of excellent, really excellent logos and icons, to work with here. You can see we have some lights, we have some darks, we have a lot of the icons that you might be used to seeing. I think those look pretty sweet. Let's stick with those. All right. So there we have some icons changed around. You can change your fonts, your font sizes, your hinting, and then over here you can adjust where you have everything. So we do have a lot of abilities. We do have the ability to adjust the menus as well. So you can take some of the edge out. It is a very nice platform. The panel, I do have the panel on the side here. Again, not my favorite place for orientating the panel. It just doesn't jive with my general workflow. However, a lot of people are moving with a direction of liking the panel on the side, and it is actually very easy to adjust. So if you come over here, right-click anywhere over here, we can come down to Panel, and we can hit Panel Preferences. So this is where you can choose a lot of different options. So you can select a solid color, you can select a background image, or you can use the system default. The problem is, even if you select a solid color, I'm not seeing a way to adjust the alpha. And that's really what I would have liked to do, is come over here and yes, us geeky web designers do actually know color codes off the top of our head. Okay, I would very much like to set this as like a black and then set an alpha transparency so I can cut it back a little bit, and I was not able to do that. So if anybody knows how I can adjust the alpha of this panel, please let me know. I am interested in that. You also have the ability to add various items. This brings me to the launchers. I was not a huge fan of how the launchers all worked, because if you can see, there's a little bit more room in between the icons that I liked. But if I adjust the launcher by adding another item, so if I want to add my email on here, which they're using Thunderbird, so I'm going to add Thunderbird to that, it doesn't expand the size, and I was not able to find a way to expand the size. Let's see, just double check. Okay, so I'm not able to see a size. So if you have more than one icon in here, you have an arrow to see the rest of the items. And so that, for me, not a big fan of that. And so what you have to do to have multiple items is you have to right click, you have to go panel, add new item, add a separate launcher. Then you have to move the launcher where you want it to be. And then you have to come over here, properties, and now you can add your Thunderbird. And so this is how you have to add the items. Not a huge deal. I'm not sure if you're going to call that a pro or a con, but I like clean things and clean systems. And so for me, I kind of like the ability to have just one launcher here and move everything else around it. So that is how that looks. As far as system utilities, this thing is rife with system utilities. And if you're a person that wants to minimize system utilities, like on a kid's or a family computer, this may not be the best choice for kids or family stuff. You might look at elementary because it does not have any system tools at all. That's why I kind of gave that a con. But some people don't want all that stuff. In my case here, I really did want system tools on my computers. I don't like having to do different computers, what am I trying to say? I like my computers to have a lot of system tools on them, because if this computer's tied up doing some video rendering or whatever else, I don't want to have to take the time over here to run with the running a USB drive. So I can do that from multiple places. So I consider it a plus that this thing is totally full of applications. And so again, some people are going to say that that is a negative. Some people are going to say that that is a positive. I think overall it's generally a positive. There are times where it might go a little too far. Like, for example, over here we have a GNOME dial-up app. Dial-up. I know we're creating light systems here, but I think it's appropriate enough to have a dial-up app out there, but my guess is that this gives us dial-up to like an AOL type thing. Which, if you're not aware, by the way, it's a scary concept, but AOL actually does still have a lot of paid customers. Not too far-fetched, because there is a large population of people that, because of where they live, they can't get broadband or anything. But for the most part, it is kind of funky that there are people that still do have dial-up stuff. So it is here. So I don't know. Maybe that's good. Maybe I'm thinking way too United States nationally. Maybe there's a lot of places around the country that still rely on dial-up. The system does have things like Vim, which will open up in a terminal, but it also has LeafPad for your basic text editors. And I really like the dark theme that they have. By the way, this is a very nice theme. We have LibreOffice by default. We have, let's see, there's GIMP, Shotwell, there's Mirage. I've never used Mirage before. Under the default applications, we have Firefox, we have our Hex Chat, we have our Transmission, Thunderbird, and we have an audio ripper, which is nice. There's a couple of mixers and volume controls. This is something that is missing on some systems. I have noticed, I remember back on Windows 95, you could do a whole lot more stuff with the systems than you can on them now. That might be because I had a real sound card in that computer, because integrated soundboards just didn't exist. But I had a full Sound Blaster in that, so maybe that's the difference. But there is some audio mixing ability here, and so you can see what you have here. This is actually another factor. I actually had to play with this a little bit to get a to get Audacity recording the internal sound on Ubuntu the other day. And so the fact that it has a lot of these applications is a pretty cool thing. As I said, it does have VLC for videos, Clementine for music. We do have a burning application. Some people say that that's a good thing. Some people say that a lot of computers are coming without CD-ROMs, and so that's kind of useless. So some distros are taking these out. It's nice that it is here, and that there are options. I understand either way. The computer I've installed this on does not have a CD drive, and so I don't have a need for a ripper or a burner or anything like that. But it's nice to have the option, particularly as I get this new computer built down here. It does have an optical drive. Under your Office, you do have an e-reader, you have a dictionary, your full Office suite, and then there's some other options there. And then, of course, under Settings, we've already looked at the appearances, but there's a lot of different settings in here. There's firewall. We even have a grub customizer. That's actually very nice. You can see there's a lot of nice tools in here. There's some system sounds, default looks, stuff like that. Here's your Samba Share stuff, screensaver. A lot of settings in here. Let's have a look at your settings manager. Okay, so here's your settings manager. So your Windows manager, you can adjust your themings and your stylings. If you like older or newer stylings, you can do that. And let's see. That's not the one I was looking for. I was looking to get right back into where I was. Forgot where it was. I was actually looking for that setting system. There might be too many setting options. We'll call that under a con here. There's possibly too many settings options in here because even if I type in, settings, let's see. So there's this. Was this it? Or was this it? Graphics editor, settings manager. That was it. Okay. So here you can see all of those various setting options in one location. So that is a very nice option. So let's have a quick look. Let's look at File Manager. Okay, so this is one where it pops up the theme on top of it. So this is what I missed. I closed that instead of going back to all settings there. There is also some other settings tools. So if you click on the MX tools, this is actually a very nice tool directly linked to the MX system. And on this one here, we have boot repairs, user managers. The Flash Manager will adjust the Adobe Flash. We have our menu editor there, just like the Cinnamon menu editor. Let me go back up there. Okay. We have a live USB maker over here. The snapshot's very nice. You can make an entire ISO snapshot of your running system, which is cool. We do have a lot of nice systems to deal with a lot of modern items. So here we have an AMD driver installer, NVIDIA driver installer, Broadcom manager, yay. This is actually kind of significant because yesterday I did the very nice video on installing Peppermint, and there's actually an error on the Peppermint install in that it seems to preserve a lot of the things from the old Ubuntu, and it just means that it kind of broke the whole thing. So I actually have to redo that, and I have to wipe the drive first with Gpart, and I'm just going to format the drive and then reinstall it, and hopefully that'll take care of it. Like I said, there's really no data on it, and I have all the data. So we do have the codecs installer, which, as I said, the codecs were already installed as I started. Here is your welcome screen, by the way. When you first load it up the first time, you get your welcome screen. Have access to the user's manual, the wikis, the tools, things like that. All right. I do like, that's a very nice function of this, is when you are in here and you are making some adjustments on things, if you close out the box, it'll bring you back to the MX tools. That is a very, very fabulous way to go. Under your software, we have the test repo, we have a repo manager, we have a package installer, we have a backport installer, and we have the apt. Okay, we have USB unmounter and we have the find settings. So there are a lot of good reasons a person might use the system. It's light on resources. It's very slick. It does really stay out of your way. Very easy to customize. Overall, I give this system multiple thumbs up. It is very nice, very easy to work with. The few cons that I've encountered, it has too much of a modern UI to it, and I'm not a big fan of the modern UI, as you all know. But one of the downsides is I don't see a way to go back to a better UI. Like if I look at the UI over here on my KDE system, this UI is pretty much exactly what I want a UI to look like. So looking at this here. What you end up seeing is I have a very nice bar down here, which has some skeuomorphic effects to it. It just looks a little bit more 3D, and all my window edges are 3D. My icons are 3D looking. I think that's a very attractive looking desktop. And being as that I stare at computers almost all the day, it's very nice to have a desktop that looks nice to me. And these newer flat designs, to me, they just have a lack of appeal that makes them harder to look at. Maybe that would be a good thing. Maybe it'd be better not look at the computer screens as much. But anyway, that's kind of what happens. So that is my my overall thoughts on this. Let's transition back over here. We're going to have a quick look at their website. And let me go ahead and move my browser window here around. Okay, here's potentially a con, is I'm having a very hard time grabbing the bottom here and to drag it. Come on. Okay, got her. All right, so here is the main website. So this is at mxlinux.org or mxlinux.org. And so you can see here they have some nice screenshots. They have a lot of nice information under your products. You can see the basic overview, including here where to get it, things like that. Let's have a look at the current release features. I think this is kind of an important website here. So basic features here. We have 32, 64-bit options. It is based upon Debian Jessie, xfce 4.12.2, and I don't know anything about the core anti-X system, but it is there as well. Automatic enabling of most Broadcom drivers. That's actually very nice, particularly since your lower-end computers generally have those. This one here does not have Broadcom, but my little netbook does have Broadcom drivers. And it's kind of significant because otherwise they don't work well. Key applications. I think we looked at all these, but Firefox, VLC, Clementine, Thunderbird, LibreOffice. We have Lucky Backup. It's very lucky. Passwords and keys, xfce terminal. A lot of people say it's a very stable system. I've seen no instability. Of course, I haven't been looking at it for very long here. This is just a first impression. Tools to make common tasks easier. So a very nice list of extra little tools and items here. So overall, this distro is a fabulous distro. Some people have, I've been asking around in some comments on videos and also in some live streams I've been participating in, what type of distro should I have on my new computer I'm building. A lot of people have recommended this. As much as I very much like the distro, this is not going to be the distro that I'm going to be using. It's not as pretty to look at as I want. And that's simply why. But that's a matter of personal preference. This is a good option. If I can't get Peppermint working right on my netbook, I will probably put this on it because it is a very nice system. I'd highly recommend it for any computer where you like the modern UI because it's kind of hard to get away from it. The theming is very nice, and all of the options and customizability seems to be here. So it looks like the start button on your computer does actually pull up the menu, and so I don't see a lot of negatives here. A very nice system, very nice platform, and definitely a Linux distro worth checking out if you are looking to switch to Linux.